So I hope you're all well fed after a hearty lunch and well rested after a good break. Welcome to our talk on the future of Checkmk Cloud, or I don't know if we have any Stanley Kubrick fans in the audience, how we learned to stop worrying and love SaaS. So my name is Jonas, this is my colleague Christian. We're both on the product team at Checkmk. And today we're very excited to give you some long-awaited updates and a look behind the scenes of the SaaS project that we've been working on, and show you an entirely new way of interacting with Checkmk. So this endeavor, building a SaaS product, is a very big investment for Checkmk. So why are we actually doing this? Why are we investing in a SaaS product? There's two reasons here, or two reasons that I want to focus on right now. Firstly, we're following the user. And there's fundamentally a very simple truth. If we want to keep building awesome monitoring software and awesome monitoring systems, we need to go where the market is asking us to go, right? That's for an outward look. And for an inward look, we're here. We need to go where the market is looking us to go, is asking us to go. And we're seeing many companies across the globe and many organizations shifting to a cloud-first strategy and shifting more of their infrastructure into the cloud. That's kind of the outward look. And with an inward look, we're seeing many of our own users of Checkmk going in the same direction. And we see that more and more often. And the second reason why we're building a SaaS product is that we all get a better Checkmk from that. Building a SaaS product enables us to do many cool things. It's bringing very real improvements to Checkmk, and that is regardless of how you will be deploying Checkmk in the future. If it's as an on-site or self-hosted solution, or as a SaaS product. But first, let's take a closer look at those outward and inward perspectives of following the user. So if we look at North America, at the North American market, about half of all organizations, half of all companies today would pursue a cloud-first strategy at this point. And that's true for many industries. If you look at manufacturing, at healthcare, at technology, at retail, doesn't really matter. It's a pretty similar story. And here in Germany, our home market and the most important market for us, we're not far behind. It's about 40%, so just a little less. And here's also true for organizations of all sizes and shapes. So DAX companies just as much as SMBs and the famous German Mittelstand. So if you're part of those 47%, then we might have a solution for you today. And now let's come to the more inward-looking perspective. So it's been true for quite a while that the shift to cloud first has been a management priority for many years now. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone here. But what about actual users, the IT teams and monitoring teams that interact with Checkmk on a daily basis, right? So for many of you, operating your own monitoring system and running Checkmk yourself will be the right solution now and for many years to come. We just heard from our colleague at Deutsche Börse. I don't think they'll be running a SaaS product or a SaaS version of Checkmk anytime soon. But we're also hearing from many more customers who want their monitoring teams to be a competence center and a resource to other IT teams in their organizations. And after all, IT is a very scarce resource, right? And what many of those organizations possibly don't want their monitoring teams to be focusing on is worrying about backups, is worrying about ensuring the high availability of Checkmk that they're running. They also might not be wanting to worry about performance and scalability of Checkmk. And if you do run Checkmk at any significant size and scale, then you probably have thousands of users, like Reiser Digital that we heard from yesterday, and you need to worry about user management. That takes up time. You also need to make sure that the hundreds and thousands and tens of thousands of notifications that are potentially critical are sent out in a reliable manner. So you need a reliable notification system in place, right? And you also need to make sure that everything is secure and up to date within Checkmk. So if you're part of that group who prefers to focus on monitoring rather than those tasks, we may also have a solution for you today, right? So that's what we mean from both an outward market-facing perspective and an inward-looking perspective from our own users by following the users. We also said Checkmk, or building a SaaS product, is giving all of us a better Checkmk. What do we mean by that? So there's some very real improvements, both right now, in the near future, and beyond that, that come from us building a SaaS product. So first of all, we can make the onboarding experience of Checkmk much smoother and shorten the learning curve of onboarding Checkmk, especially for first-time users. It can be quite daunting, right? In a SaaS product, we can also experiment with new features much more easily and prototype quickly. So we can expect better features out of Checkmk. And in a SaaS product, we might also have telemetry data. So we can learn from user behavior. We can learn how users actually use and interact with things in Checkmk. That means better decisions that we can make about product development. So we can learn from our users. Think of better defaults for rules and configs. Think of better notifications or even proactive suggestions within Checkmk that might come from that, right? And there are also very immediate effects that are true for us as an organization and for the very real Checkmk as it exists today. So building a SaaS product means that we are, for the first time, operating Checkmk at a really significant scale, or at least we will be, hopefully very soon. And that means we had to put a lot of know-how into place, or develop a lot of know-how, and we now have a pretty capable, and if I dare so, pretty kick-ass DevOps team within our company. And that means we have a much more real understanding of DevOps and its use cases, right? And yesterday you heard from Jan how application monitoring is one of the big bets, or one of the bigger items on our future roadmap in the next 2 years. And guess what? Running a SaaS product at scale and monitoring all the underlying technologies has taught us a lot of about the APM space today. And all of that is going right back into Checkmk. And then, as some of you may know, we build our SaaS platform on AWS and on Kubernetes. So we're learning a lot about those technologies, and that's already informed some very real changes and improvements in our monitoring integrations for those technologies that are pretty fundamental and pretty crucial to many Checkmk users out there today, right? And those improvements are real, they're here, and you don't need to be a SaaS user to benefit from them. Now you're probably thinking, Jonas, cool, that's all great, but that's a lot of talking. What does it actually look like? Can we see it? And
of course we can.
Can you show us?
I'm happy to show it to you. Yeah, so thank you, Jonas. So today I want to show you, I want to let you know what are the major benefits of this Checkmk Cloud version that we built and why is it really important for you. So as we've just seen from Jonas, Jonas has presented why we are building the SaaS product. And what I now want to do is I want to show you the product itself. And I will start off with showing you how simple and fast you can set up Checkmk in just under 5 minutes. So we'll have a look at that. So what you see is the sign-up process. So you also need to create a user, you need to validate it, because we only allow validated users to be part of the system. Then we ask you for your organization name and the site name. And then we ask you for a couple of additional information. But that's basically it. Then you have to wait for a little bit. And then there's your ready-to-use site, and you can immediately start using it. So what we've just seen is all it takes to set up Checkmk Cloud. So it's really simple. It's also very secure. And we provision everything automatically for you, as you've just seen. And that obviously saves you a lot of time. What we also have is one central login. So there's no need for you to bookmark different logins or remember different pages. So there's one central login. That's all you need to bookmark and to access your site and your tenant, in fact. So we've also included user management into Checkmk Cloud. And the good thing about it is it's entirely self-service. So you do not have to set passwords, for example, on behalf of your users, like you have to do with Checkmk at the moment. So, but that's all good and fine, but it really doesn't stop there. So when we were thinking about the scope of Checkmk Cloud and what we want to achieve with it, we really asked ourselves, so what does a better Checkmk look like? And what do we have to do in order to implement and realize that? So, and while we did that, we set ourselves one important goal, and that is to provide a much faster time to value. And what that means is, we'll just show you that, but one part of what it means is that since we are hosting Checkmk ourselves, we can really provide a much, much richer onboarding experience. And what that looks like, I will also show you. So in a second, so since we are, like I mentioned, so we are in the SaaS environment, and the good thing about it is that we know a lot more about the environment itself. So we can, so we have a lot more possibilities to pre-configure things, and thereby also really greatly simplify the configuration process. So what I will now show you is how you set up your first host using our pre-configured push agent. So all we have to do is, as usually, go to our great agent bakery. And then basically it's really simple, because all you need to do is you need to download the agent. It's already pre-configured for you. It includes auto-registration. So you just need to download and install it. And then it automatically appears in your monitoring after a quick activation of changes. So there you have it. So that couldn't be much easier. So we have this one-click install agent that, like you've seen, registers itself. So automatically, it's also visible, and you can use it really very quickly. So and that way, you can also make your infrastructure visible within Checkmk really fast. And the good thing about it is, since we're using the push agent, it's also very secure because it pushes the data into our site. So there's no need for you to open up any ports or any your firewall or whatever to the outside world. So that's really cool because it allows you to really get your first host into the system a lot faster. But obviously it doesn't stop there. So you know it probably much better than me that it takes a lot more to really set up Checkmk productively. So we also introduced something that helps you with that in Checkmk Cloud. And this is what it looks like. So what we did is we added this onboarding tab on the right-hand side. So we added onboarding guides, which are really concise and intentionally very brief, to really give you the most important information that you need to set up Checkmk on a basic configuration level. And if you want to go beyond that, for example, you need to set up a dashboard. We integrated in search across all of our knowledge sources. So the handbook, which is really popular. You've also seen the video tutorials, as well as the forum if you need to look for something very specific. And you can access that all within the product. So that's really helpful there because you can then find whatever you need directly within the product without having to go outside. So what we've just seen is like we have this tailored onboarding. So we have a really detailed a really clear step-by-step guide, which is very concise, which really focuses on the individual steps you have to take to achieve a certain result. We've seen the in-product search. So that gives you easy and fast access to all of the knowledge sources you need to set up Checkmk. And as you've seen, it covers the handbooks, it covers the forum, and it covers our video tutorials. So that's everything around Checkmk and the site itself. So probably you're already quite familiar with that. But to make Checkmk Cloud available as a SaaS offering, we also had to build services around it. So everything that potentially spans across different sites. I now want to show you what that looks like. So what you see here is the site management. So in Checkmk Cloud, you can manage your sites. So initially, it will only be one. Eventually, we will also allow you to have more than one site. And this is what it looks like. Then, so as mentioned earlier, we have this one central place to manage your users. And as an admin, this is where you really add your new users, where you basically get them into your tenant, into your system. And basically, you add them there, you assign them a user role, and the rest is completely self-service then for the user itself. So you as an admin don't have to do anything additionally. So you do not have to set passwords anymore. You just send out an invitation. There's also the possibility to resend it. So that really simplifies work for you there. And this is what the central user management looks like. So to summarize it, in Checkmk Cloud, our main goal is to provide you with much faster time to value. We provision a site in a couple of minutes. We take care of running it. We're keeping it up to date. And on top of that, we're also providing users with in-product onboarding. So pre-configurations, as you've seen, the integrated search across all of the knowledge sources. And that really allows specifically new users to get up to speed with the product a lot faster. So how does all of that fit into the Checkmk product lineup? And why? Probably you notice it. So Jonas and me, we keep on referring to the system as Checkmk Cloud. So doesn't that already exist? There's already a version out there, Checkmk version, which is called Checkmk Cloud. So what we're doing is we're expanding Checkmk Cloud with a new deployment option, which is SaaS. So this will exist alongside the self-hosted version once we launch. And I will tell you a little bit more about that on the next slides. And this also rounds up the strategy behind our product naming. And with this addition, the cloud name makes a lot more sense. So when we introduced the cloud name last year, we chose the name Cloud to effectively to reflect cloud monitoring capabilities. But we also had the SaaS product inside. So if you want to, so Checkmk Cloud, as you know it by now, is Checkmk for the cloud. And if you want to, you can also in the future use it in the cloud. So just to make it clear, so the self-hosted version of Checkmk Cloud is not going anywhere. It will stay. And it will continue to exist alongside the SaaS version. So, most interesting part probably, since I got asked that a lot these days. So what's next? We want to go live this year in Europe and in the US. But of course, once we go live, we're not finished developing the product, obviously. So what we're currently working on is network device monitoring via SNMP, which is in our setup really a challenging task because you need a constant and also more importantly a secure connectivity between your network basically where you do the SNMP based monitoring and our site. And this is not something which is an easy task. And so there's a couple of things we have to consider there to make this really a usable feature, and also that we can provide the services we mentioned earlier to you as well. So we keep it up to date, we keep it running, we maintain it. So that's something, as I mentioned, which we're working on already conceptually, because it's also really heavily requested by you. And we took that as an input, and hence it's also really important for us. And we're also working on SSO and a lot more things to come. So that's what's next for us, but what's next for you? So really the good news is that you can get started with Checkmk Cloud right away in this very moment, because everyone who's today in this room, so physically available here in the conference, just received an exclusive early access to the beta. So we sent you an email, so please check your inboxes. So there should be an invitation link that gives you exclusive access to our Checkmk Cloud beta. So for everyone else who is unfortunately not or cannot be here today, who is maybe watching in the live stream or later on, so we're working on making that beta available for you as well pretty soon. So everyone, please try it out, test it. We're also asking you for feedback, so please provide us with feedback as well, and really help us to build a great product. Thank you.
Some of the SaaS developers, I think some of you will need a microphone for the questions, because I don't know if we can answer all of them.
Let's see.
The first thing I think you already answered, if there's going to be an external authentication provider, I think the plans are...
Yes, I mean, that's what we're working on. So, or is the question what we're currently using?
No, it's, I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll tackle that via when we tackle SSO, yeah. Correct.
So, how do we encrypt the data? Do you want to take it, or shall one of the...
I mean, I can take it very on a high level. I mean, if someone from the team wants to add something, so multiple ways. So the push agent brings some TLS encryption with it. So that's what we do for encryption for data in motion. Data at rest is also encrypted. So yeah, so we'll tackle both areas. So yes, it's encrypted in short.
So both data in transit and both data in rest.
Yeah.
Okay, does it answer it, Paulo? Okay. Yes. Is there a way to get access to the CLI for advanced debugging?
At the moment, that's not planned, no. Because that's somehow a little bit contradicts the SaaS approach that we take care of maintaining and running the system. So, yeah, I also don't think that will ever come. So
I think there are two aspects to it. So if like the perspective of you as maybe if there are issues on the server, that's something you shouldn't have to worry. But I mean, then there's also the other case. Let's imagine you have a special agent and it doesn't work, and you have to go to the command line to debug the special agent to see, okay, why is it not working? And I think one of the things that you have to do in Checkmk is to elevate these error messages from the command line also to the user interface, because you will not get command line access onto these hosts anymore to the monitoring side. But therefore, all the possibilities for debugging, we have to move into the user interface. And I think this is then something which we'll not only do for Checkmk SaaS, but also something which we'll do in general for Checkmk, so that you can much easily debug from the user interface stuff like problematic special agents or whatever. And I saw Moritz was nodding, so I think this might be the right thing. Yeah, cool. Can I deploy a remote site to an on-premise environment?
Currently not, no.
So also, why do you ask? I mean, the question is like, because we have this on-premises network monitoring and the things that the typical notion we have is for on-premises monitoring, we put a remote site there and then we have the remote site there. The big issue with the remote site is you have to manage it. It also has all the data because, I mean, we have distributed data storage in Checkmk that doesn't work in a SaaS product because, I mean, if the remote site is gone and the data is gone, that shouldn't happen. So we need a different concept. That's why for Checkmk SaaS, we can't go with this remote site concept as we have today. So we have to go basically, and that's what they're currently working on, is a different concept to collect data from remote networks. And we have that for the services, the push agent, but now we also need to extend it, as you could see, for SNMP. And also, I think there was one question regarding, for example, stuff like vSphere that also applies to that. So exactly the same question from you, Jakob. It goes into the same direction. That's what we're working on, the network device monitoring. That's how we call it. Is there any option for data retention?
Yeah, so data retention is covered by us, depending on the license type you will have or whether it will be on a trial. Not too sure what's behind the question, but basically will be handled by us. So, and it will be connected to the licensing state. So at the moment, we have not planned to retain data after license expiration.
I think the question is also, like Paulo, was you, yeah? Like how long, is it about how long the metrics, for example, are stored? Yeah. What do you know what we have set as standard for metric storage?
Yeah, we adjusted that for us, so we prolonged it, I think, to 4 years. No, sorry, to 2 years. We halved it. Yeah, I think the default configuration at the moment is 4 years. We halved it to 2 years, since that's also the industry standard. But what we also did is we adjusted the configuration so that you have, how do you call it, bigger...
So the RAD settings we changed on default, that you have actually less averaging, but we keep the data in more granular for a longer time period.
Yeah, more granular, that was the word. More granular.
So I think the 1 minute resolution on default is now for a longer time period. Also the 4 hour averaging also goes for a longer time period.
Yes, I think 2 weeks it is now.
Okay, how do you plan to handle custom plugins?
Yeah, that's a good question. So nothing really precisely planned, but our thoughts going to the direction that we'll have something like certification that maybe you know from mobile stores. So when you upload something there, you need to go through a certification process, and we're thinking about something similar. So yeah, we're thinking about it, but currently, yeah, it's on the roadmap, but a little bit further down the line.
I put it on the roadmap already. So.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it's on the roadmap.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know that this, like, being the ability to extend Checkmk is one of the key things. But obviously, we can't just put any data to a Checkmk site to ensure that it's running securely. So we need to come up with our extension store in product or exchange in product. Okay, what is the Daniel, what is the reaction time for you to fix problems within the SaaS environment?
I mean, standard answer is depends. Depends on the issue, but yeah, so we have some RTOs planned, but they're not officially, so we're thinking about something along the lines, I think, of an hour. Yeah, I mean, it depends actually on the severity of the issue, yeah, so. Cannot share much more details because at the moment we do not have much more details, but once we have that, we'll share it.
Okay. With that, I think you're still here, like in the next break as well. These are the 2 guys you can ask. You can also, they can also refer you to the other developers who might know more about the details, how we built that stuff. We're quite open of, like, in detail of what we are doing. So please reach out to us if you're interested. Please try the demo. Or actually not the demo, please try the beta now of Checkmk Cloud.
Yeah. And also come see the team at our Knowledge Fair booth at the back of the conference hall. We're there for the next coffee break.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you.